Welcome to the Rise Above Show with Patricia Joe Grover, where we rise above our challenges and turn believers into achievers. I would just want to take just a quick moment and thank our sponsors, 133 Approved Funding. They have been able to help businesses keep their doors open and keep people employed. But for those people that are in the process of trying to get a new business started, they have funding available for that, as well as consumer funding. They provide people like myself and Sheila with funding a package, a link that people can use if they need funding to get our goods and services. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to me and I'll share that information with you. And so happy to have Sheila Farr as a guest on the show with me because she is going to be a speaker on the upcoming Rise Above Summit in the spiritual dimension of life. And she's been with me. This is coming on the third time. And we always love having her. So welcome to the show, Sheila.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here again.
So let me tell you a little bit about her. You know, Sheila is a CEO of the Gulf Coast Training and Education Services, LLC, where she helps struggling entrepreneurs and small businesses overcome obstacles and become success stories. Sheila herself is a 9-time international best-selling author, educator, and business strategist. In 2020, she founded Biloxi Reads, an innovative designed to get books into the hands of the underserved populations along the Mississippi Gulf Coast. When she's not serving others in business, she's serving her community with Biloxi Reads, which is a program providing job training as a workforce readiness director for the Gulf Coast Human Resources Association, and writing her inspirational blog, Thankful and Blessed 365. Oh my goodness, Sheila, you have been such an aspiration for me, and I'll share a little bit later about a project I'm working on because I was inspired by you.
Oh my goodness, that's great.
Yeah. Oh, so good to have you with me every single time. So, Sheila, the last time we spoke, we talked a little bit about a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. And
Right.
can you remind us a little bit about that conversation? And those who weren't around and to watch and listen to us, share a little bit about which one someone should strive to have.
Sure. Well, this is such a fun topic for me because, especially after the last conference, I got a lot of contacts. People just reaching out and saying, "Tell us more about this and how we can change our mindset." So, and what's the importance of a mindset anyway? So it's really exciting because this time, speaking at the conference, that's what I'm talking about in a spiritual dimension. So I'm pretty excited about that. But a fixed mindset, let me start there, is kind of just what you would imagine it is. It's a mindset that's where your principles and values are set in stone, you are unchanging, you are unwavering. Oftentimes, this can cause you to be a little bit pessimistic, not quite as open to new things or changes. And oftentimes, it can cause conflict in workplaces and in relationships too, because the way that you communicate is kind of guarded and one-sided versus a growth mindset, which is more open. You're open to learning, you're more positive, you pay more attention to the world around you, you look for opportunities to overcome, to do better, and to reach out to other people. So you have one that's feels a little bit heavy, that closed mindset. So if you would just think about carrying a load of bricks. So it kind of weighs you down and keeps you from looking up and out. It keeps you focused down, as opposed to a growth mindset. If you would kind of think of maybe a watering can, and you're watering a garden, and you're nurturing, and you're watching, the sky and the birds. So as you can imagine, if you think of those two different mindsets, you really want to strive to have a growth mindset because it's more uplifting, it's more positive, it opens you up to more opportunities in your life.
Oh, such a great description, and that when people can visualize that, oh, Sheila, that is amazing. It makes a difference.
It really does.
Right. So why do you think our mindset is so important, really?
Well, because everything that we do stems from the way that we think and believe about it. So if we have a really fixed and narrow mindset of things, and it can be anything. So take a relationship with somebody that you love, and maybe you have communication problems, and maybe it's because you see things your way, one way, and you aren't open to anything other than what you think. As opposed to what your spouse, friend, or coworker may be bringing to the table. It might be a different value than you have, or a different way of doing things, or a different perspective on something. So if you are really closed off, then it's going to impact every part of your life. Whereas the opposite of that, if you're more open, it's going to give you opportunities to do more, to be more, and to help other people more frequently. So really, the way that you think about things impacts your ability to do everything. It impacts your spiritual life. It impacts your health and wellness, your ability to perform on your job. So your mindset, it's a super big thing. And one of my very favorite quotes comes from Henry Ford. He said, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And I thoroughly believe that.
Yes, yes, yes. I agree 100%. And also mindset too. You just when the positive mindset. And just when I do with clients, Sheila, and just thinking of this. If you close your eyes and you're thinking about a dream or goal that you have, and you start asking yourself a question, if you ask the word if, what if you're saying it in mindset wise, if you're saying it from a positive, being excited about something, when you close your eyes, you feel that, that what if,
Yes.
and just feel that feeling. But then on the other side, okay, close your eyes and be thinking, oh, but what if this or what if that? The difference of what it does to your body, it just makes such a difference.
It does.
And that's mindset. That is mindset and how we talk to ourselves, right?
Absolutely. It completely impacts us, everything in your life. And people don't realize that. They wonder why they struggle. And it's because a lot of times people that seem to always have ongoing struggles in their life have that struggle mindset. They have, oh, what's next? Right. They look at life with those classes of, oh, what's next? Like you just said, oh, what if? Oh, yeah. But what if this? Oh, but what if this? Yeah. So, yes, super important. Such a good example.
And those buts. So when I say, when they start using the buts, then it's like, okay, but you got to get off of it. Get off of that right. butt and take action.
So, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really good point, too. And that makes me think of something else that I heard someone say, and I don't know who to credit it with, but they said, if you want to do something, you'll find a way. And if you don't want to do something, you'll find an excuse. So, yes. I mean, that definitely shows the difference between the mindsets as well.
Exactly. And I've heard that, too, and I can't pinpoint who it was. But oh my goodness. So Sheila, are there other problems other than, the physical, spiritual, emotional that can be brought about as a result of having a negative mindset?
Absolutely. Physical is one of the things that I see most frequently. Over the summer, I had the opportunity to speak to our local mental health association about the effect of your mindset on your overall health. So we talked a little bit about how to realize, be more mindful, I guess, about the way that we speak to ourselves, the words we use, and the words that we use to other people, and the behaviors that we have, because oftentimes those are things that can make us anxious, can bring about depression or anxiety, and can cause us just to have all sorts of health problems that go along with those sorts of things, because it impacts your blood pressure. So then you're talking about your cardiovascular health. It can impact your gastric health. You have those nerves and people with upset tummies and, get nervous a lot. So there's so many things that your mindset can really impact. And with a negative mindset, you tend to have so many more health problems. It diminishes your immune system and gosh, just a myriad of problems that can be brought about by a negative mindset.
Exactly. So that's so huge, and that's such an importance. And everybody has a little bit of time here and there where they may struggle with things and start questioning. That's human nature. That's human
Right.
nature, and we all have those little naysayers and those little backseat drivers, or those voices that
Mhm.
come up on us. But it's how we deal with these. And so that's talking about what I want to ask next is what are some ideas? How do you think we can change some of those negative mindsets around?
I love that question because we have all the power that we need most of the time. Except for some people that really do have chemical imbalances in the way that their system works. The things that we tell ourselves is paramount. So one of the first things that we can start to do is just really to pay attention to the words that we use when we're having thoughts. What kind of thoughts do we have? One thing that I love to do with folks when I work with them, honestly, in some of our yoga classes, is just to kind of give them an assignment for a period of time. And it could be 3 days, 5 days a week, and just have them do a thought journal and take a look and see, whenever they have a moment, just jot down what you're thinking about, just kind of mind dump onto paper. And then go back and evaluate that and put these things into different categories. So what's positive, what negative thoughts have you been having? And then take it one step further. Of the negative thoughts, which are fact and which are fiction.
Right.
Because that's oftentimes the things that we tell ourselves might not always be true. So you want to be sure that you're taking a look at how you're treating yourself in your mind. Your own mental health is determined by your mindset. So you really have to think about the conversations that you're having with yourself. And then, just other things that can nurture your mental health and your mindset, like getting a little bit of exercise, getting out into nature. Even if you're not going to do a ton of physical activity, sometimes just walking out and standing outside or in a different, giving yourself a little bit of different scenery can make all the difference in the world in your perspective. And it opens your mind up to so many different things because your sensory inception is so different. If you're staying inside in a dark house all the time watching television and you don't deviate from that, you're going to start to notice the effects of that on your body and on your mindset. But if you take breaks regularly and make it a point to get up, walk outside, just take a breath of fresh air, it refreshes you and it instills a new spirit in you. And sometimes it can just, inspire or encourage you as well.
Exactly. And I totally agree with that, Sheila. Another thing that comes to mind, because I'm always talking to people about putting yourself first and self-care things, and doing something self-care can be related to artistic things. And like you do things like that. I think at your center you do some things that are artsy, and I think that makes all the difference. Those things are considered a self-care type thing, and that just being creative with your mind and exercising your mind in other ways too.
That's such a good point. People often think that self-care means you have to be selfish.
Right.
But you have to take care of yourself so you can take care of others. So you can't pour from an empty cup, right? You got to be sure that you're full before you can give to others. And I think for me, the thing that brings me the most joy in life, and we've talked about joy a lot when I've been on your show, but I think is really serving others and cheerleading others. And whenever you're empty or drained or tired, it's a struggle for you to do that. But whenever, you take those times that bring you a little bit of joy in your day, those are the things that recharge you. And everybody's a little bit different, so I think last time, for me, sitting down with a cup of tea, hot tea, and a fancy little cup and a book, 100% pleasure. That's the thing that brings me joy. And I can do that once a day, and I can take on the world. I can battle anything, as long as I take that 5 minutes out a day. Where for anybody else, it might be an extreme physical workout. That might be what they need. They might need to sweat it out every day, or they might need to paint it out every day, or write it out every day for writers. So you have to find the thing that works for you, and it'll be different for everybody. But whatever brings you joy, it could be just chatting. It could be going to the park and listening to the children giggle.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can be the most uplifting thing in the world, but you have to find the thing that does that for you, and you have to do it on a regular basis. So
Right.
yeah, good point.
And all that goes full circle to saying, if we are in that positive mindset, we are, we're happier ourselves and for ourselves. We are able to then, that raises our access. Other people are more apt to approach us and access us. That's when we are manifesting things,
right?
And good things come to us when we're doing things to raise our own spirits and our own joy levels. So that, just wanted to throw that in there because it all ties together. So the people
it really does.
The people that are,
I think we've seen that. Both of us have seen that in our lives too. The more you put out there, the more comes back to you. So absolutely.
Exactly. Yep. Oh goodness. So Sheila, what are some ways you would recommend to ensure we stay on that right track once we overcome that negative mentality?
Well, an important thing is to learn what your triggers are for that, because there are some things that are in some times of the year that are a little bit more cyclical than others, because my mother used to do that. She had that. I never thought seasonal affective disorder was a thing,
true. Yeah.
But it truly is, because whenever the days started getting shorter, she would start getting more nervous and anxious because she was a person who liked to be outdoors. So the lack of that sunlight in those longer days really did impact her. So you really have to know yourself, and it takes a minute and some time out to kind of learn yourself and your triggers. But if you're really trying to grow a healthy mindset, it's completely worth the time of doing that. Taking time to get to know yourself, taking time to know your triggers, so you can then start to rewire the way that you think about those triggers and your reaction to them, because that will make all the difference. So really, that's the first thing I would say. And the second thing and third thing would be just things that we've already spoken about, just making yourself a priority so you can remain uplifted and full. And then finally, just do more of it. Just do more of it. Just repeat, wash, rinse, repeat.
Yes.
So it's real. And that's honestly right there. The wash, rinse, repeat is where another set of folks often struggle too, because consistency is a struggle for we humans, for us. So, just trying to be aware of it and mindful of that. And I know we hear that so much, be mindful, but truly you have to pay attention to things in order to make an impact or change them. So if you're seeking to make a positive change in your mindset, you definitely have to pay attention to what you're doing.
Oh, 100%. That is for sure. Oh my goodness. So, and that, that gives me a little bit more to think about, because we have, every single one of us, we have what we will accept when it goes to that mentality and where our line is when somebody pushes our line, and everything. But what I tell clients is we have to have our own line and know where we stand with that, because if we don't have something solid, we're not, if somebody crosses our borders, you know what I mean? And with that, we won't know it until it's too late and they have been, and we're left feeling not well about things,
Exactly.
And those are things that help with that, is being strong in who you are and what you will allow, and how you will allow other people to treat you. And
vocalizing that to other people, so they know that's another things where oftentimes we struggle is communicating our expectations for things,
and those being boundaries, and that's the word I want to use, boundaries. But some people will think that if you have boundaries, you're automatically creating a wall of division. And it's absolutely not so, because if you have yours set, it's putting a more comfortable and mutually beneficial relationship between people.
Right.
When you have those boundaries set, whether it's people that are close talkers or you know what I mean, those types of things. If you know what yours are and you have those set, um, it it's like what I say to people is like when somebody walks into the room and they walk into the room and they have an energy about them and they're smiling and people are automatically drawn to them. Okay, that you automatically know that, but you also automatically know if somebody has their boundary set and they know who they are and they're confident in when they come into the room. Somebody that is going to be trying, a person that tends to be more controlling or whatever, knows they're not going to pull that with that person. You
Right.
know, it automatically.
Right.
So get to know that and know your boundaries for yourself, just like you said about knowing yourself and knowing
Mm-hmm.
um, all those things will make such a big difference for you. Oh
Yeah,
goodness.
it's worth taking the time to do for sure.
Yes. Oh, so Sheila, what are a few of the benefits of having that growth mindset? Because we were just talking about the other, but now growth mindset is so exciting. This is where I want
Yeah.
to hear a good step from you.
It really is because so what happens when you have a growth mindset? Then honestly, your possibilities really are endless because you're open to anything. When you're healthy, you know your boundaries, you know what your expectations are. You've communicated that, and I love to tell people don't think of boundaries as walls in front of, but think of explaining to your other person that I'm going to allow you to come this far. Look at all this room that we have to work with. It's not that I'm pushing you out, I'm bringing you into me this close. So just it opens you up on a spiritual level, for more joy, more peace in your life, on a physical level, for just more physical fitness. It's incredible how when you have that growth mindset and you're eating well, how much more you enjoy your food. When you really take time to look at what you're eating and you make it an event. And that's one thing that I really had to work with. And that's honestly one of the things that turned around for me because I'm very meticulous and very structured. I like to accomplish a lot of things. And in order to do that, I have to stick to my schedule. So, but what that does for me is it kind of makes me a little bit dull because I get into a routine and I forget, to make events of things, even meals, so I could find myself just eating cereal out of a bowl in the kitchen, but I don't need to do that. I need to like make a meal, sit down at the table, and it doesn't have to be fancy. Even if I take my cereal to the table with a glass and just, take time to let all of my senses soak that in. My body appreciates that so much. So that's another benefit. At work, you feel more open and more approachable and more willing to sow into other people when you have a growth mindset because you're looking for opportunities to help and to serve as opposed to looking for opportunities to avoid and deflect. So it really is there's so many benefits to it. And I highly encourage anybody who's struggling with it to seek a helper. And, it might be a professional person. It might be, a friend or a family member who is a coach of some sort. There's so much help out there now. So I would really encourage people to kind of dig a little bit deeper into their mindset.
Yes. Oh, and the great explanation and of that, Sheila. I often think of when we're talking about growth, if somebody's a wallflower, just think of, a cardboard flower stuck to a wall. And that's where they are. But when you're talking about growing, you have to be out there. You have to get off of that wall. So just think of the kids at a school dance. You remember that? If
Yes.
they're hanging back against the wall, they're not out there dancing and socializing. They're not growing, but that's what kids go through. But still,
Right.
once they take that step and get out there, they're growing, they're living life. And
Right.
that's what people need to do. They need to put themselves out there. Sometimes it's not the most comfortable thing, but for
Um,
any one of us to grow, it's not necessarily comfortable. We need to,
right.
everything I need to, you need to, we need to stretch ourselves a little bit further than what we thought we could do in order to grow.
Exactly. Yeah. And we're not always going to be on either. Like I think we said earlier in the program, there's peaks and valleys to it. So just because we're not feeling particularly up or happy on a particular day, that doesn't mean that it's a bad day. It just means that it's a day,
Right.
So life is filled with peaks and valleys, and it flows, and that's why it's life. We wouldn't want it to be all the way up or all the way down. But what having a positive or a good or a growth mindset does for you is it allows you to respond and react to life and to cope, in a much more healthy way than a negative mindset will.
Oh, yes, totally agree. Oh my goodness. Oh, so wonderful. And so Sheila, I am so happy again to have you on with us and talking in the spiritual dimension of life for our Rise Above Summit that will be airing in October. And let me share with folks that you will be your episode, because you're going to be in the spiritual dimension, will be
Yes.
airing October the 8th, and you'll probably be on about 7:30 p.m. And this is Eastern Standard Time, so just letting people
Nice.
know that ahead of time. Yes.
That's great.
So thank you again for being with me. Do you have any gifts for our viewers and listeners?
I do. I always have new free good things for everybody. So if you just visit our website, www.gulfcoasttraining.org, there's actually some free materials over there, inspirational books, joy-filled books, things to help you live more thankfully and blessed. There's also a 30-day positive mindset journal. So you can go over there and just download that. Or if you'd like a bound copy, you can just email us and we'll get that out to you too. So it's just really something for people who struggle with consistency, just to kind of help them, or for people who have never heard of the concept before, because they're out there. People are out there. We want to reach them and let them know that they don't have to, every day doesn't have to be miserable, that there are ways that we can turn that perspective around. So that's out there for them as well.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. And thanks for being with me. For anyone who'd like to find out more about me, you can go to patriciajogrover.com. And if you're in the continental US, if you text the word GOAL, GOAL, to 26786, or if you're from outside the continental US, if you text the word GOAL to 1-866-926-4026, you'll have stuff go right into your inbox. So again, I want to thank our sponsors, 133 Approved Funding. You can reach out to me, or you'll find information below. And we have a little video on the way out. And thanks again for being with us.